Hey there everybody, Joe here. Today's going to be a great day because I've got a sketching tool to show you, and I'm going to give you a little, I'll show it to you later in the video, but I'm going to give you a little hint. It's not the Altoid tin or the palette. It's neither of the tin palettes. So let's get started. I'm basically going to show you some of the stuff I've been doing the last couple days. So in my sketchbook, I'm working on, I don't know if you've seen some of my past videos. I've got the tentacle with the holding up the sign. And that's kind of, I don't know, that's basically Looney Tunes, you know, the Bugs Bunny, Wile E. Coyote, you know, holds up a sign a lot of times when he's falling. So I had the tentacles, so that's what kind of these are, some old tentacles. And then I kind of realized that the sign can kind of go into anything. And if depending on what it is, it kind of gives a little bit of a different message. So, so I've got two more, like, three more series that have branched off from that. So you've got the skulls, and they can go through and say all sorts of things. I've got an older series that I'm kind of bringing back for this. I called it the Crackpot Uglies, and basically just really creepy, weird looking characters that are kind of goofballs. So they're crackpots. They're little nuts. So so I got some ideas on the signs and stuff. So the other day too, I was working on playing around with markers and pen and ink and watercolors. And then I was using the Molotow marker and with watercolors over that. And so I came up with that other series. So I've got this, they're going to be all part of Signs of the Times. And so here, basically what I'm going to be doing is some things where you've got flowers. And so that kind of goes back to some of my other series too. So everything's kind of coming together. Oh, little self-portrait. So today, let's doodle around, and then I'll show you my sketchbook tool after we get a little bit of pen and ink. Even though it's not pen and ink, it's going to be marker, paint marker. And if I use the acrylic marker, it should go pretty well. So the other tool I'm going to be using is I'm going to be playing around with a watercolor pencil. It's a Caran d'Ache, and this one is a kind of a bluish, Prussian blue. So one of the things. So the things with let's do one of the skulls, right? And I'm leaning over here, so I wonder if I always think about like which is going to be the best angle for showing you guys this. So we kind of just do a quick. These are, I mean, I guess they're a little bit cartoony. I think some of them will become more realistic as I, you know, work through the process of putting these works on paper. I think works on paper, some canvases. Do I do them in acrylic? I'm starting. Well, I want to start using oils, but I haven't done anything with oils yet. So let's put this kind of get an idea of where the sign's coming through. I'm not sure what this one's going to say. Let's. I think what I like is I like them. I want to portray something that's going to be a little silly, and I'm not, when I'm sketching like this, I kind of want it to be, you know, a little stream of consciousness, right? All right. So since this is a watercolor pencil, it's going to mix in with my colors of like what I, you know, come through to use a little bit later, but. Let's just do Eat at Joe's. Like I said, these, you know, there's a little bit of a non sequitur. Okay, let's do one more, and then I can show you. Well, maybe we'll go with this, and then I can just show you the technique, right? So, got here, this is a 2mm Molotow empty, and you push down on the paper to pump it, but you want to make sure if you're doing this on your finished piece that you have a separate piece to pump the marker on, because I have a tendency, I think sometimes maybe because they sit too long or something, but all of these pump markers tend to want to ooze out a little bit of extra paint. So let's go through and just ink this in real quick. You know, and this is my sketchbook, so we'll see how if I can get these line weights to kind of change how I want it. Oh, this guy, I made him really angry this time. I think that's the thing too, is you can give a little bit of an anthropomorphism to your skulls if you get the, you know, change up the lines a little bit. So actually, now I realize I need to ink this first, because we're gonna have to let it dry a little bit. Otherwise, the watercolor will blur it at this stage. And you know, that could be okay if that's the effect you want to go for. Let's put it through here. And some extra shadows. Some kind of texture on the ground. All right. Oh, we should do the letters, right? I'm going to keep it lowercase in the middle. I don't usually. Okay, let's do one here over here, just with the marker. And this one, I think I'm going to try. Let's do a. Let's start with the word just bloom. This one will make into the like flower power series, I guess. It's a work. The titling of that is a work in progress, I think. So let's do a couple flowers down here. Fill in the spaces. Let's put some echinacea looking things over here. Let's put a big one down here. Put in some greenage. Another couple echinacea back here. Fill in the space, give some stuff looking forward, looking back. Another thing, let's put in some little shadows. Let's put a little bumblebee back here. One over here. Little cartoony stuff. And I think with the cartooning, at least my goal with cartooning is to, you know, help you, the viewer, kind of fill in the blanks, so it becomes more of your interpretation a little bit. Even though, you know, these are I don't want to say realist, but they're cartoons, but they're not based on, like, they're not one of my exaggerated silly paintings. So, okay, it looks like, based on the gloss and stuff, that the Eat at Joe's is dry. So let's break out the special the sketchbook tool. So it's not the palette. It's not the Altoid mini palette. It is this. This is a it's for carpenters, but it's a magnetic wristband. So got a lot of Velcro here. So, but basically, just put it on your offhand, and get it situated here. Doesn't have to be super tight, but one of those things. So it doesn't have to be super tight, but it's got magnets in it. So with the magnets, you don't have to use your hand. So let's, I'm going to break out a different palette. So the Altoid tins, this is a different, this one is just basically another just kind of generic tin palette. But now I don't have to think about, you know, and if you get it tighter, you make it super tight, you know, or as tight as possible, then it doesn't move around too much. But now you don't have to hold it, and your hand's not going to get cramped. So now, so I'm going to take my, I've got a little bit of a, I got my Vinci CosmoTop spin, and I want to start with some light colors. So let's work through with this yellow here. There's a little bit of, I think, leftover opera pink, which is the pink I've got here. So this is, I believe this is Hansa Yellow Light. So let's give myself a little bit more water. I want kind of an off white for that, for the sign. And let's see how, this is my first time playing around with the watercolor brush. I mean, a watercolor pencil. So as you can see, it really blends in with the paint, but I'm not too worried about that because this is my sketchbook, and this is where your sketchbook is where you, you know, you play around with things and you learn how, you know, teach yourself basically how your materials work. So like I said, this is the first time. You can see how that kind of really, you know, it got a little dirty, but let's add some more. Ooh, oh, that's kind of a cool effect. Let's do that a little bit more. That's because I bumped the tin. Let's put in some, you know, give them some little bit more highlights here. Now, this isn't watercolor paper, so this is their kind of mixed media, Stillman and Birn's mixed media paper. And so it's going to buckle a little bit, but this should give me a good idea of how I want this, you know, to eventually be when I put it onto like a better quality watercolor paper. I should be able to kind of, you know, get, like I said, this is the play around stuff. Let's mix up a little bit of, so these colors I have in this palette are pretty, I want to say they're not out, they're, you know, just kind of over the top a little bit. I wanted colors that were going to be like real poppy. So this is not a basic color palette at all. So I've got Opera Pink, which is basically like, you know, it's almost fluorescent. So I'm going to kind of use that as some of my shading color. Now my dark shading, I believe I have in this palette is Moon Glow. These are Daniel Smith watercolors. I really like I like how they go down. Okay, let's pull in some of that. I think this is Moon Glow. Let's see, I'm kind of looking. Okay, this is the Moon Glow. I think I have diazonine purple, or one of their dark purples in here too. So let's play with Moon Glow. Moon Glow is a blend of colors. I think it's, I think it might be like ultramarine blue and one of their reds, and I can't remember what it is, but I think it gives a nice purpley effect. Let's make this darker here. So that's kind of fun. All right, so over here, because I didn't use the watercolor pencil, the colors should be a little bit more vibrant, and I want to start with that yellow first. So I really want it to be, I want some of these things to be, you know, to pop. Let's kind of fill in here, give some of these things. Probably using a little bit too much water, but I'm kind of being, you know, this is, like I said, this is Sketchbook. I'm in a hurry, because I'd like you to kind of see how these things work on the paper, and figure out how some of my techniques, you know, working through techniques, playing around with stuff. I mean, this is, if you can't play, you know, I don't know. I think that, honestly, I think one of my favorite things about art is play. It's having fun. It's interacting with the materials to produce something that, you know, resonates with you guys, the viewers. And one thing I'm realizing lately is I really have to share that, and the more I share it, the better. I want this to work as a full-time thing for myself. And in order to do that, you have to see what I'm creating. So let's add some. Now we got some green. This is, I believe, permanent green light. And so, like I said, all of these colors are kind of along the, like, really light up the spectrum. A lot of these things. So we got that. Let's see. Let's add a little bit more. Let's make it some darker-ish areas. I'm going to mix this with a little bit of that diazoning purple, I think. I think that's what this is. It's a really rich, dark purple. And that'll come through as some of these shadowy zones. And it's going to mix in with all of these, because this is wet and wet, right? It's going to kind of blur like crazy. But it's as you can see, it's a very dark purple. It'll overpower pretty much everything in the piece, but I think that's okay. As we play around with pushing things around and using a little bit more paint just to see how this works. But as you can see, like my wrist, you know, this palette, especially if you're out and about, this palette is going to, you know, really do some wonders for you. I've got my kind of brush cleaned off. Let me pull some of this green around more. And the purple. To some of the shadow zones. Get some stuff to pop. Put this, nice little blob of yellow. And I think the thing too is, so when you're doing this in your sketchbook, you can end up with things that are happy accidents. Not that that's a happy accident, but those are things. Okay, now I want to come through. I'm gonna really pop in with this opera. Oops. My palette, since my palette's a little bit dirty, I'm running into a. Where do I get the color from? But let's play around here. Let's see how this opera color really makes things pop. So I'm coloring these, you know, I want the pinks. And it's such a vibrant color that it's going to pop forward a little bit. Put a little bit back here. And I want to think about, like, let's water it down. And I think if I use just a little bit of the pink and some water, I want to put a little bit of pink, just a little bit of pink up here. So let's see if I can get a touch. I don't want too much, but because I want that pink to come up just a little bit. In my thinking, I want it to come up a little bit into the top part of the painting. So if I was to put it right now, if I wanted to put a background, I could do light blue. I'm going to do it to the side because right now I don't want, everything's not dry, and I kind of want, I think this is cerulean blue. I'd like it to just be a light. Cerulean's a nice color because it kind of has this kind of a granulating effect here. Let's work with some cleaner water and come to the edge and kind of just feather that in. And actually, now that I think about it, so one of the things with watercolor is a bloom. If you get the back, you know, too much water and it kind of backwashes into your color. So that's kind of a thing that could be kind of an interesting extra play on this this sign. So there we go. So there you have it. So it's this little magnetic wristband. Palettes are cool, but the wristband, you know, I think this is something you could use if you were right-handed, left-handed, one-handed, no-handed. it's really going to help you hold on to your tin palettes. Anything that's a little metal, you've got your small Altoids Smalls clicks on there. So homemade palettes, anything that's magnetic is going to stick to this. And if you need to, also, it'll hold your screws and nails while you're putting in paintings and hanging your stuff up. So thanks a lot, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this. Please be sure to give me a like if you haven't done so already. Subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. All helps. And check out my other videos. Look back at some sketchbook tours, or I think that's a good one, sketchbook tour of the last one. So I'm working on stuff all the time. Hey, please feel free to please feel free to ask me any questions you want in the comments below. I'm more than willing to answer them. Yeah, I hope you have fun. I hope you have a lot of fun with your art. Hey, and if you can give somebody a reason to smile, you just might get to smile too. Thanks a lot, everyone. Love you all. Take care.